We are live. And here we are. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for popping in. My name is Diane. I'm here with Kay and Misty, and we are on here this evening to talk to you guys about our amazing health journeys that we've been on. For me, it's been October 31st, 2022. It was 3 years. It's been absolutely amazing. I was struggling with my health for many, many years. And unfortunately, it took me finding somebody on TikTok to tell me what was going on. I started in my early 20s with degenerative disc disease in my back, extremely painful, lots of procedures. Hurt my neck in my 30s and found out I had degenerative disc disease in my neck also. Like I said, lots of pain, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, lots of procedures, lots of pain medications. And then as I started to get older, other things started to go wrong. I started having acid reflux really bad, so I was put on medications twice a day for that. And then it turned into GERD, which was horrible because it was another thing that was keeping me up at night. And then I started having my blood pressure was going up, my cholesterol levels were going up. And once I hit menopause, forget it. Like I gained a ton of weight. I was moody. I was irritable. I had horrible brain fog. And I can really tell that my health was starting to deteriorate at 53 years old. And it was kind of scary. And I remember in August of 2022, just like praying to God, like, gosh, like, is this the way my life is good? Is this like the way my life is going to be? Like, it was pretty scary thinking I was only 53 and hopefully I had a long way to go, but just to being in so much pain and being moody and irritable and the hot flashes, and it was just horrible for me. And thank goodness I had torn my hip labrum in February of 22, and I was home recovering from surgery. And I was laying out on the couch, scrolling through TikTok, and I came across somebody's page, and she basically said, "Do you struggle losing weight? Do you struggle with bloating?" And she started naming all of these things. Are you moody? Are you irritable? Do you have chronic fatigue? Are you constantly craving carbs? Do you crave sugar or salt after you eat? And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, how does she know? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I craved sugar after every time I ate. And sometimes after I'd had the sugar, my ice cream, cookies, brownies, whatever it was that night, I would crave something salty. So I'd be going for the bag of chips. And when she said that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a specific reason that I'm actually doing this all the time. Like, my mind was blown. And so she started naming all of these symptoms, which I'll go through in a minute. But she said if you have two or more of them, you have something called insulin resistance, which I had never heard of up until this point. Um, and I said, obviously, I have this because I literally had 14 of the symptoms that she was talking about. Um, so I started to listen to what she was talking about, and she said she had a Facebook page that I can get on and learn some information. She's talking about a nutraceutical that could help reverse insulin resistance. I'm telling you, I've learned so much about my body and how I had jacked up my hormones so bad by the way that I was eating and the foods that I was eating. I mean, obviously, I knew I was gaining weight from the way that I was eating, but I had no idea that I literally ate my way to my pain. It was inflammation in my body that was causing me to have all the pain. I mean, obviously, I still have degenerative disc disease in my neck and my back, but I had been no longer been in pain. And to me, that was just like mind blowing that all these years had gone by. I mean, I've been suffering since my early 20s. Like, I found out I had degenerative disc disease in my back in my early 20s. And to know all the pain medications and all the procedures that I had gone through, when somebody could have just said to me, Diane, let's take a look at your diet. Let's take a look at the way you're eating. And to find that information out was kind of mind blowing. So like I said, I learned a lot of information that I'm going to tell you guys about, but that is my story. I've been doing this nutraceutical for, like I said, over 3 years. It's been a game changer for me. I had lost over almost 40 pounds in 3.5 months, 30 inches, 7 just on my waist. To not be in pain anymore has been a game changer. I'm no longer on any kind of medications, no longer on acid reflux medications. And to believe it or not, I looked up in something called the PDR.net, where you can look up all your medications, and I had a lot of the side effects from being on the acid reflux medications for so long. So that was another really important thing that I've learned in this journey that I've been on, is how medications can literally cause us to have other issues down the road. I heard a statistic that if you're a woman in your 40s and you're put on a statin medications, you have a 50% higher chance of getting type 2 diabetes. And if you get the type 2 diabetes, you have an 80% higher chance of getting heart disease, which to me was mind blowing, you know? Absolutely like mind blowing. Okay, I don't see it on here because I wanted to share it. I don't see it's live on the page. Sorry, guys.
It's live somewhere because we have 4 views. Some
All right, where are we live, guys? Okay, I see it on this one. Now I see it. Okay. Sorry about that. Just be patient with us. This is only I think my third or fourth live, and we're trying to figure out this whole StreamYard thing, so it's pretty cool, but it takes a little bit getting used to. So I apologize if sometimes I'm going to stop and say, "Okay, what are we doing here?" I just want to share this to Misty's page.
Thank you.
Hold on a second.
Yep, we're
Um,
on Facebook with the Jack Russell photo.
so Kay, why don't you tell them your story and how this affected
Yep.
you?
Hi, my name is Kay, and I was always chronic. I've had 4 sinus surgeries in my lifetime, and I've always had battle with my weight. And everybody would be like, "Well, you're not following your diet, blah blah blah." And so I'm like, okay. But within the last 6 months, I had a nurse practitioner suggest some extra extensive blood work. So I'm like, okay, I'm really in for that because I just knew something had to come up. And it did. And she said, you have insulin resistance, and that's what's holding you back from your weight loss and probably a lot of other things. And I'm like, okay, because I always kind of felt misdiagnosed. And
And that's
so,
crazy on itself, right? That your body's telling you something's wrong and you kind of feel it, but you're never getting the right information.
yep. So then I told him I got made an appointment with a family doctor. And she said, well, insulin resistance can be reversed. And I'm like, okay. So then I went to TikTok, and that's where I met Diane. She was on talking about it. And what, Diane? I mean, it wasn't even 2 weeks. And it was less than that since I saw her on there and then talking about it. And I'm like, well, I want to try the system. And I have lost 30 pounds now. And my blood work has changed dramatically because I had blood work taken 2 months into being on the feel good system. And yeah, the doctor was like, whoa, so I'm improving.
And now, like, how long had you been dealing with it? Like
My
issues?
sign, my
Yeah.
sinuses.
Yeah.
I'm 58, so it happened in my 30s, my young 30s. So yeah, a
Long
lot of
time.
years, a lot of being on the allergy shots. I mean, the whole gamut. And again, it just wasn't getting to the cause. The doctors treat the symptoms, but they're not helping the cause, which none of us. I didn't even know that was possible.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really kind of mind blowing. And when you guys hear Misty's story too, it's kind of crazy how you can be sick without knowing it, right? And all this stuff is going on and our bodies are telling us a sign. They're saying, something's not right, something's not right. And you get put on medications, and the medication is like you said, just put a band-aid on it. But what we've done was help get us to the root cause of, why we're insulin resistant. And it's just been a complete game changer for all of us for our health, and that's why out here sharing this information, because like we all, like, when you start to feel good, like you just want to shout it from the rooftops, like you just want to get this information out to as many people as you possibly can. And that's why we're on here doing this, because we're just, like Dr. C says, passing along the information. You can do what you choose, but I'm telling you, if you want to give this a try, what we're going to talk to you about, it's just been a complete game changer for my whole family. My husband was told that he had hereditary high cholesterol and he'd be on a statin medication the rest of his life. which was not true. He had high cholesterol because he had high triglycerides because he ate like crap. And I was making sure he was taking the medication because I was nervous. I didn't want him to have a stroke. And then I found out how bad the medications were for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got to try what I'm on. And this has changed his health too. He hasn't been on statin medications. This March will be 3 years. And he had acid reflux horribly. The man never stopped coughing. He coughed 24/7. And he's no longer coughing. And he said that the acid reflux is what affected his life every single day. And sometimes his food would get stuck. And he says to not have to deal with that every single day has just been like so amazing for him because he said,
My
this
my
kind of
food,
debilitating.
my
Hmm?
food gets my food gets stuck.
Yeah. Still?
Not as much, but a little bit.
Well, the longer you're on the system, the more your body heals,
Yeah.
then you'll see it. Sometimes it's kind of crazy too when you realize how your body is so sick. Our bodies are so sick inside, and it takes sometimes some people a little bit longer than others. Always have people ask me, so how long until I feel better? And I'm like, you got to give your body grace. We didn't do this to ourselves overnight. So you got to give your body time to heal, and consistency is the most important part of this whole system. So Misty, why don't you tell us your story?
Yeah, so thank you. So my name is Misty, and I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. So I was, I guess, what you would call a yo-yo dieter for the better part of about 38 years. Back in 1986, just 5 years out of high school, I started my first Weight Watcher meeting. And I was that lady that would go to the Weight Watcher class. I would lose anywhere between 50 to 70 pounds. And I would do that pretty much on a regular basis.
Wow.
My problem was I could lose the weight, I just couldn't maintain the weight. So this went on for years. And I used to think, well, I guess this is just the way it is. I evidently don't understand the maintenance portion of this whole Weight Watcher program. But I thought I understood it, but it just never worked for me. And I knew how to lose the weight. It was just, like I said, maintaining it was where the challenge came in. And so, it got to the point where I even had conversations with my husband about it when I literally said, look, I guess I'm just destined to be overweight the rest of my life. This is not going to be something that is ever going to be any different for me. And so I was just kind of resolved to the fact that I wasn't meant to be any thinner than I was. Um, so basically, then when I turned 60, and that this 60th birthday was a big one for me. That was the one where I really had a problem with turning 60. 50 was like, yeah, I didn't love it, but 60, it just hit really close to home. And the reason being is because I lost my mother. In fact, today is the day my mother passed away 25 years ago at
Oh,
the
miss.
age of, yeah, 25 years ago today. She was just turned 71 years old.
Oh, wow.
And when I hit 60, I was like, holy crap. My mom died at 71. I'm 60. Like, this is starting to get a little scary because
Yeah.
I was starting to see signs of things that I watched my mother go through with my own health. Uh, One of those things was high blood pressure. Another thing was a lot of joint pain. Another thing was the brain fog. Another thing was, acid reflux and also not sleeping well. And so, these things just kept coming on. And then I developed neuropathy. Now, did not know the first thing about neuropathy, couldn't have told you what it meant, couldn't have told you what caused it. But I do know one thing for certain, and that is I had a major, and I mean with a capital M, major sugar addiction. You
Me
talked
too.
about craving sugar after you eat. I craved sugar all day long, and I ate it all day long. And, they say that your body whispers before it screams. And so for years, there were whispers that I did not pay any attention to. I did not know that crashing in the middle of the afternoon was a whisper. I did not know that, aches and pains in the body constantly from all the inflammation and sugar was a whisper. I just thought, oh, I like sugar,
Right.
and never really took it any further than that. Now, so the neuropathy started in my right foot. It got to the point where I would go to bed at night and I couldn't even stand the sheet touching my foot.
What
I
did it
mean,
feel like?
literally, it felt like, the best way to describe it is like if you had a Brillo pad and you scoured the top of the skin on your foot until it was raw.
Ooh.
That's what it felt
Oh, that's horrible.
like burning and needles and pens, and just like very, very sensitive to the touch. So in fact, so sensitive to the touch that I couldn't even stand the bed sheet touching it. So
Wow.
at night when I would go to bed, I would throw my foot out the side of the bed just so the sheet wouldn't rub on it.
Jeez.
And then my big toe was completely numb. I had no feeling at all in my big toe. Did not know what any of that meant. And I kept telling my husband, like, would you look at my foot and see if you see anything? And he says, there's nothing there. I said, is it red? Nope, not red at all. I said, well, it feels like it's on fire. And I later found out that was neuropathy,
Wow.
which I've reversed. But you know, it was just crazy because it was just one more thing and one more thing and one more thing. And the craziest part about this whole thing, ladies, is that, if people think that, you have to be a pre-diabetic or a type 2 diabetic to be insulin resistant, that is not true. Insulin resistance is the precursor to those things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have insulin resistance for years and have normal blood work. Because I would go to my doctor, I went to the same doctor for years, 30 some years to the same doctor. And every year when I would leave the doctor visit for my physical, my doctor would say, and I quote, "You look amazing on paper." That was always the words. And it's almost like it was a broken record. I'm like, are you
Really?
freaking kidding me? I look amazing on paper. He said, yeah, I'm telling you, you're not pre-diabetic. You're not type 2 diabetic. Everything looks great. No red markers in your blood work. So every year I walked out of there this high off the ground thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to just be able to continue doing just what I'm doing. I'm going to eat like a pig. I'm going to eat all the fast food I want. I'm going to eat all the Oreos I want because my doctor said everything looks perfect. And all along, I was insulin resistant and nobody told me.
Wow.
I mean, I had skin tags all over my body. I was covered with skin tags. And if you have skin tags on your body, you're insulin resistant.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, they used to, like, I used to talk to my doctor about having them removed, and they're like, oh, yeah, we can remove them. Nobody ever said to me, Misty, those are caused from insulin resistance. No, they were ready to charge me a copay to have them removed.
My mom used to say that too.
So,
She couldn't believe it. She had the skin tags all over when they started to fall off. She was
yeah,
like, "This is unbelievable."
they just disappear. So do not waste $50, $75, whatever your doctor wants to charge you. If you do not plan to learn how to become more insulin sensitive, keep them on your body because they're going to come right back and they're going to come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So now I'm down 65 pounds. I am off of 5 medications. I was on antidepressants for 33 years straight. I was on high blood pressure medicine for 31 years. I'm off that. I'm off the antidepressants. I've reversed neuropathy. I've gotten rid of all of my chronic joint pain. I had debilitating joint pain back into my 20s, much like similar to what you said, Diane, only not, severe, but I still had, I mean, I had back surgery. So I did have a
Wow.
lot of back pain. That's all gone. I just went snow tubing 2 days ago.
Great.
Woohoo! I mean, it's like aging and freaking reverse.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm
And tell them
telling
about your
you,
medications how you were on the antidepressant, the one medication, and then they.
yeah. So I was on some form of an antidepressant since 1991. I was actually put on my first one when I gave birth to my first child at my postpartum visit. And so I was on Celexa, Zoloft, Paxil, Prozac, Effexor, and then they finally landed me on Wellbutrin. I stayed on Wellbutrin for the longest. And about 7 years ago, I was just having a conversation with my doctor, just like you review medicines. And I said to my doctor, I said, I truly do not know what this Wellbutrin stuff does. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't feel any less anxious. If anything, I think I feel more anxious. I drive my husband nuts with anxiety. I worry, I stress, I'm tight, wound tight as a drum all the time. I go to the worst case scenario the minute something comes out of somebody's mouth. I'm immediately going to tell you why that's not going to work.
I
I'm going to poke
understand.
holes. Yep. I mean, my husband used to say, stop pissing on my Cheerios. I said, I can't help it. That's what I do. And he said, well, you do it really well too, by the way. But anyway, that was the conversation with the doctor. And he said, well, Misty, how long have you been on that Wellbutrin again? And I said, well, I've been on some antidepressant since 1991. And he said, well, the problem is your body has become resistant. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, it means your body just doesn't respond to the antidepressant anymore. Just kind of like you've heard people that are on, what do you call antibiotics, and all of a sudden the antibiotic doesn't work anymore because they've been on it so long, right? Same
Yeah.
thing. And he said, so we're going to put you on another antidepressant. I said, you mean after all these years, you're going to change the Wellbutrin to another antidepressant? He goes, oh, no, we're going to add a second antidepressant. And I said, well, what is the second one going to do? And he said, well, that's actually going to boost the effectiveness of the Wellbutrin. Well, I'm going to tell you, ladies, right now, this is kind of a little spoiler alert. 7 years and no boost happened. I waited 7 years for the boost. Now I can tell you what did boost, and that was the money coming out of my wallet. So not only was I spending $40 a month for Wellbutrin, I was spending another $40 for Lexapro. And I did that for the better part of 7 years before I found the Feel Great system. And when I found the Feel Great system, I found the best antidepressant you'll ever get your hands on, and it's all natural. So I went into my doctor. They took me off my my blood pressure medicine at the 6-week mark. They took me off my antidepressant starting at the 8-week mark. And I had been on those, like I said, 33 years. And now, I mean, I have a little bit of anxiety once in a while. I mean, naturally, we're all human. Things happen in life. You get a little bit like, that's a little much. But do I feel like I need an antidepressant? Hell no.
Great.
Wow.
So I'm telling you guys, it's been like literally like a bird coming out of a cage. Like I felt like I was trapped all those years. And now, like the real Misty that was caged up for 33 years is like flying freely. And it is the most amazing feeling because what they don't tell you is that serotonin, which is the chemical of the brain, is actually produced in your gut.
Yeah.
So you heal your gut. Well, guess what else heals? Your mind. So, I'm not saying that everybody's mental health problems start in their gut, but I'm telling you, if your doctor is not looking at your gut health, you need them to look at your gut health.
Here's Misty's picture.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So it's been nothing short of, this
You
is a
got it?
bigger one. This was me. That was me 65 pounds ago. And my husband's had an amazing story too. You can see he was very thin and trim, but he was kind of like your husband, Diane, did not eat healthy
Mm-hmm.
and had a massive heart attack. And so now, he's on the system, obviously not for weight loss because the weight loss is just a side effect of the system, but he's off of 6 of his 8 medications.
I mean, amazing. And he gave you a hard time about it, right?
Oh, he gave me a hard time. Yeah. Yeah, he did not believe in nutraceuticals. His belief system was what they had in his tackle box. He believed in everything that they put in here because, I mean, that's who we are, right? We believe that because our doctor has a medical degree and went to school to learn about these medications, that that is the only option. And I have news for you that, do your research. All I'm going to say is do your research. If you are skeptical about nutraceuticals, be equally skeptical about what is in the medications that are in the pharmaceuticals that you're taking.
Yeah.
Because just because it is a pharmaceutical in the PDR does not mean that it does not come with a myriad of side effects.
And we're just not told about those.
We're not told. And that's the problem. I mean, how many times have you taken a medication only to find out that now you have a problem with something you didn't even have in the first place?
Exactly. Yep.
Your liver was fine, and now your liver enzymes are jacked up.
Yep.
So, I do believe in life-saving medications. I do believe that there are medications that people need to save their life. Doctors need to give you those medications. What I don't believe is that if your doctor does not have a goal to get you off of those medications, you may want to revisit that. Because, they say that when you go to a doctor, you should say to your doctor, what is your goal to get me off of these medications?
Right.
And if your doctor does not have a goal to get you off, then you
You
may
need a
want
new
to.
doctor.
Yeah, I mean the medications that you think you're, and just like your husband, Diane, my husband was told the same thing after his heart attack. The cardiologist said, under no uncertain terms, you will be on a statin for the rest of your life, Craig. And I did not like the sounds of that. And my husband's like, well, I'm not just going to come off of a statin just because you don't want me on one. And I said, well, I think we should look at natural alternatives to the statin, and got him on the fiber, and he's off the statin.
What did this cardiologist have to say about that?
They were mind blown. I mean, in fact, he just saw his cardiologist 3 weeks ago here in Ohio. And this cardiologist is getting ready to retire. He's 70 years old. And he said to my husband, he said, in my cardiology career, Craig, I have never seen anybody with triglycerides like your triglycerides 1 year post heart attack.
Oh my
His
God,
his triglycerides are like 53.
oh my God, that's so awesome. What was his triglycerides before this heart attack? Do you know?
I believe I'd have to pull the labs, Diane. I'd be misspeaking, but they were probably, I'm guessing, 170, 180, somewhere in there.
See, my husband's was over 300.
Oh God, yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I mean, I haven't looked at those lab numbers. I should probably review that. But and the first time he went and had his blood work, the doctor said, "Did you even fast for this blood work?" And Craig's like, "Nah, I just went in and had it done. I kind of forgot about having the blood work done, so I just went in the middle of the day." So the doctor, I mean, the doctor wanted the information again. A year ago, he asked for information about it, and of course, he never did anything with it.
Right.
He asked for the information again. He said, "I need to know what this stuff is."
It's crazy. Mind blowing.
It
I
is.
mean, his testimony, I mean, thank God you you
Oh,
found this.
I mean, the sight of him in a hospital bed was becoming the norm.
And
Every
and
time I
now
turned around, he was in the hospital.
he's doing amazing.
Yeah, like I said, 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago, we just went snowboarding. We went up this huge mountain, and I mean, he went up probably 7, 8 times.
Wow. I mean, it's giving you
Wonderful.
your lives back, you know? Like that's
Yeah.
a memory you probably wouldn't have had with your grandkids, right?
Yeah, that's why it's so precious to me. Because I mean, there were many times, this all started when he turned 65. He's 69 now. And there were many times when I thought, I'm going to be a widow. Like, this is going to happen. Like, nobody bounces back from a mitral valve repair, multiple blood clots in their lungs, 2 back-to-back heart ablations, and then a heart attack in 3 years.
And right before he had his
Wow.
heart attack, didn't he just go to the doctor? Hadn't
Yeah,
he just had gone?
8 days.
Is that
Eight
crazy?
days prior to the heart attack, he was given the all clear.
And then had a heart attack 8 days later.
Yes.
Like it, that's that
So
mind blowing.
it is mind blowing, and that's why I say that I truly, I owe my husband's life to this system, and I mean, and he owes his life to this system. In the beginning, he thought I was brainwashed. He literally said, "I think this company has you brainwashed. There's no way that this stuff does everything you guys say it does. I don't even know why you continue to believe in this stuff." Until we tried it. And
And
if
that's
I
the
mean, if
hard part.
I what's that?
I would say that's the hard part is like when you see, especially like you, me, and Kat, like when you see what we see all of the time and the healing that we see on our science calls and, and in our groups. And it's like, this stuff it sounds too big, too good to be true, but it's
Mhm.
really, really helping people.
It does. And I mean, we were all skeptical, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I found it on flipping TikTok. I mean, I know you guys probably did too. I had
Yes.
never even ordered a tube of toothpaste off of TikTok. And I just thought to myself, when they said there was a 90-day money back guarantee, I thought to myself, well, you know what? I didn't get any kind of a guarantee when my doctor put me on medications. I have tried everything to get this weight off. My health is not doing well. I want to live to see these 12 grandchildren. And this was a picture of me the day that I started.
Wow.
And I took that picture because I thought, what if, when I feel like crap on January 5th of 2024, what if, just what if? And by God, am I glad that I took that picture
Yeah.
Yeah. And took the chance.
and took the chance.
Right? Yeah, I say that to people. Like I did a video a couple weeks ago. I was just having a good Saturday. I came off a really great call, and I was just like, "Gosh, what if I didn't make that one decision?" Like, did you ever have like one decision change the rest of your life? And like, what
Yeah,
if? What if I didn't say, "Okay, I'm going to order that today"? Where would my health be? Where would my mom's health be? My mother-in-law's,
yeah.
my husband's. There's so many people, right? Kay, right? Like,
It's scary to
Yes.
what if
think
you didn't
about.
make that one decision? You
Yeah,
know?
it's scary to think about. It truly is. I mean, think how many people's stories we know personally on this system, and we
It's
we
crazy.
we know. I mean that these people have transformed their lives. Those people might not have been here. Many of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We
So
all
many
took
moms.
a chance on something that changed our lives. And I feel like people, like, if you are at the point where you're on all the medications, you're not getting any better, you keep having to go back every so many months to have the prescriptions refilled, you're a frequent flyer at the doctor, you're a frequent flyer at the hospital, you're a frequent flyer at the pharmacy.
Yep.
What would a chance like this with a risk-free 90-day money back guarantee? Why wouldn't you?
Yep. It's a
What
win-win.
what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right, Kay?
So
You
to
just
me,
get your
it's a
money back.
no-brainer.
Yep. And that's why
And
we're on here sharing our testimonies and because we all want to shout from the
oh,
rooftops, right?
yeah, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you see what it's doing for people, and this is in 60 countries. This isn't just something that's here in the United States. This is helping people all over the world. And I
Yeah.
feel like we're one of the sickest countries,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I mean, just out Christmas shopping, and you're just like looking around and you see all the people in the stores and they're suffering. You just know they're suffering. And it's like, gosh, you just want to be able to say something like here, like just take a chance,
Yeah.
give it 90 days. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But what if it
Yeah.
was for you? What if you could feel better? What if you, could not be rolling around in that wheelchair, that electric scooter and you could actually shop on your own?
That right there, Diane. We were in the grocery store the other day, and just what you just said, I said to Craig, I said, "Do you see how many people are in electric scooters in this grocery store right now?"
Hmm.
It used to be that was not commonplace. Now they're everywhere.
I mean, and even the kids,
Oh,
the little kids, you're just like, oh my gosh, oh
yeah,
my gosh.
the children are now developing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
At 3 years
Children.
old, at three
Yeah.
years old,
They say
yeah.
that by the time a child is 7 years old, the children coming up right now, by the time they're seven, they have already consumed more chocolate. More chocolate, more sugar than their ancestors did in their entire lifetime by the age of seven.
Oh my gosh, that's a crazy statistic. But I,
And
I
it's,
get
I
it,
mean, I mean, look at the sugar, look at the chemicals, look at the dyes, look at the crap that's in, look at the amount of ketchup that these kids eat.
right?
Are your grandkids into the ketchup?
My
And I
granddaughter
mean,
is,
oh
not
my
my
God,
grandson.
the sweet and sour sauce, the all the condiments. I mean, they can't eat a piece of pizza without dipping it in ranch dressing.
Yeah, it's so true. And you know what? I did that to my kids. Well, actually, it wasn't me. It was my husband. His cousin started that with the whole ranch. We never ate ranch. I never ate ranch on my pizza when I grew up. My husband's cousin was like, "Oh, you got to dip your pizza in ranch." And we were like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, this is so good." I can't even tell you the amount of ranch bottles that we have gone through because of that.
Well, and all the think of the seed oil in there. Let's think
I
of the
know.
inflammation in their little bodies.
Mm,
I mean, even baby formula has seed oil in it.
so mind blowing.
So even they're coming out of the womb and they've already got a strike against them because they're already being inflamed with seed oils as an infant.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's I mean, we're set up to fail.
Yeah,
It's nothing like, when our great grandparents didn't have 262 different names for sugar and
exactly.
high fructose corn syrup and, like you said, all these highly inflammable seed oils. I mean, like I said, I had no idea that I literally ate my way to all that pain that I was having. And let me just tell you, for 100% fact that I know that's what it is, because I kind of went off the wagon this past week. Um, and I ate way too many cookies for Christmas for the holiday, which I hadn't done the last 2 years, but I don't know, for some reason this year I just did that, and I'm telling you, the pain came back. I hadn't been in pain in 3 years, and I'm telling
Doesn't
you, it
take
came
long,
back.
does it? Yeah.
No, and I was like, ChatGPT, oh my God, like I ate too many cookies and now I'm in pain. It was like, just relax, you know what to do, you know what to feel, just. And you know what it really told me, which I was really surprised, because I'm like, okay, I got to do a really long fast. It said, don't do a really long fast. It said, just do like a regular, it said to do 12 to 14 hours and that's it, because it said not to stress your body and to set up your cortisol levels.
Oh,
And I was like, wow, that was, and that's what I would have done had I not asked. I was like, oh, because I couldn't believe the pain that it came back. It came back with a vengeance. Like I said, I had not been in pain in 3 years, and I was like, whew,
mhm.
I was
Yeah.
dying.
It's your body definitely. It is true. You are what you eat, right?
So
Your body
100%.
tells you. Yeah,
Well, what did Hippocrates say, right? Food is thy medicine, medicine is thy food. If we would have just listened way back then.
yeah.
It's crazy. So we'll tell you basically what it is, what this amazing system is. Um, so I don't have my little packet here. I don't have a lemon one, or yes I do. So this little packet here, it's called Unimate. It comes from the yerba mate plant. It's absolutely amazing. It's filled with antioxidants, theobromine, saponins, and something called chlorogenic acid, which is one of the most amazing things that you can put in your body. Um, this is like an all natural metformin. It helps keep your blood sugar low. It gives you the most amazing energy with no crash. We call it nature's Ozempic, because it's going to boost your own GLP-1 up to 70% in a fasted state. I know you've heard of Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy. Well, those are GLP-1 synthetic agonists. This, like I said, is nature's Ozempic, because this is just plants, vitamins, and nutrients. It's not going to hurt you or affect you in any way. But it does two important things. It sends a signal to your brain to stop eating, and it shuts off the food noise. So for me and for Misty, I don't know, Kay, are you big into sugar or not really? I have a huge sugar
Oh,
addiction.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So this for me to help shut off that food noise was just a complete game changer, because when you don't have that, when you can be in a room where they're bringing in all the cupcakes and stuff like that and you're not eating it, you don't have, I was always the first one to want to go get it because of the sugar addiction. And now it's like it's my own decision if I want to have it or not. If I want to have it, I just make sure I have this first.
That's right.
And this has helped me to make so many better decisions. This also is going to boost your ketone production by up to 60% in a fasted state. And I don't know how deep I really should get into anything, but basically what's happening is every time you spike your blood sugar, your pancreas secretes insulin. Insulin is like our master hormone. It's the only hormone that affects every single cell in our whole body. Has a really important job to do. It's to take that glucose out of the bloodstream. It's like the key to those cells. It opens it up and gives the cell the vitamins and nutrients it needs to survive. The problem is it wasn't meant to do all day long. And I think us as a country, as a nation, that's what we do. We literally spike our blood sugar from the moment we wake up and we have that first cup of coffee or cup of tea or bagel or banana even. Like I had a gentleman who he's like, well, I get up and every morning I have a banana. And I'm like, bananas are filled with carbs. You think that you're eating something healthy, but they're going to spike your blood sugar. And it takes 90 minutes for your blood sugar to come back down, but it takes 4 to 6 hours for your insulin levels to come back down if you're metabolically healthy. And if you're not, like all of us weren't when we started, so it could take even longer. And basically, what we're doing is we're just pushing those insulin levels up all day long, like that, never giving our bodies time for it to come back down. And when that happens and you're doing this, like Misty said, every single day, weeks on end, months on end, years on end, you could be insulin resistant for 10, 15, 20 years before it ever starts to present. And basically, what happens is your cells start to shut down and they become resistant to it, no longer allowing the insulin to open up that cell and feed the cell, giving it the vitamins and nutrients it needs to survive. And now you have all of this insulin and this glucose in your body, and it's starting to get to your liver first, and then your muscles, and then it starts to get to other organs. And it starts telling us these little signals. Things are going wrong, like you start having acid reflux, you start having pain, you start having your blood pressure go up, your cholesterol levels will go up. And that's our body saying, something's not right here, something's not right, but we're just not told about it. This system helps you to step away from your plate, to fast for longer, and to allow your body to have those insulin levels come back down, and which can be a complete game changer for your health. And now we don't snack anymore. If I'm going to have anything sweet, normally will have it right after I eat. So I have my fiber, or I'll have another fiber right after. Like when we're at a birthday party and we have like pizza and we don't have like cake until later, I just take another fiber and have that right before, because this fiber is amazing. Mister, you want to tell them about the fiber?
Yeah, so the fiber was actually formulated by Rexall Drugs. So when I was growing up, we had a Rexall Drugs in my hometown. And they are actually the ones that made this fiber about 30 some years ago. Now, this is not your grandma's Metamucil. Metamucil has a single source of fiber in it, which is psyllium husk. You may have also heard of a product called Benefiber. Benefiber has a single source of fiber, which is wheat dextrin. This has 7 sources of fiber. So these are soluble and insoluble fibers. And what's amazing about this fiber is it's a little bit of fiber that acts like a lot of fiber. So in the packet, it's about 7.25 grams of fiber, but in actuality, it acts more like 15 to 20 grams of fiber. So what you do is you mix this with water. You get a bottle that looks kind of like this. It comes with the kit when you order. There's a water line. We make it super easy for you. There's a water line right on the bottle that shows you where to put the water. You put as cold a water as you can stand in the bottle first. You add this packet of fiber in, and you're only going to want to give it about 4 or 5 quick shakes. Over shaking it makes it too thick. You just want 4 or 5 quick shakes, and then you chug it. And you want to drink this right ahead of your heaviest meal of the day. Now, I buy extra fiber because I like the benefits of the fiber.
Me too.
You can do it with 2 fiber a day. You can do it with 1 fiber a day. My husband does 3 fibers a day. It's really whatever you choose, but 1 fiber a day works just fine. And just drink it before the heaviest meal of the day. And what it does is when you mix those 7 different types of plant fiber in water, it forms like a viscous gel. And that gel acts a lot like bubble wrap. So you know what a sheet of bubble wrap looks like? This is like bubble wrap protection for the gut. So this fiber is going to get down in the gut first, and then you're going to eat. And what happens is when it's down there, it kind of is like it forms like a catcher's mitt. That thick viscous gel is just down there waiting on your food. And so as soon as you start to eat, your food gets caught in that viscous gel. The gel completely encapsulates the food, and it's going to slow down the processing of those carbohydrates. Cuts down the carbohydrate absorption, slows down the digestion process, helps your triglycerides. Now, we talked about that a little while ago. Your triglycerides is actually the single most important number on your blood work panel. That is the sticky fat that forms in your blood. And that is the number that really dictates whether or not you're going to have a cardiac event. This fiber helps the triglycerides. It helps with better digestion. And this is another thing I love about it is it kind of acts like a gastric sleeve in the stomach. And by that, I mean that it fills the stomach before you even take your first bite. You know, you're going to notice when you drink the fiber, you start to feel full immediately. And
Yep.
then you're going to find that you're going to feel full longer in between the meals. Now, there have been times when I've done an extended fast and all I do is just drink the fiber. I don't even eat. I just drink the fiber in place of the meal, and you can do that. But one of the other things that is amazing about this fiber is the immune properties. I don't know if you ladies notice this or not, but I'm coming up on my 2-year mark on January the 6th. And one of the things that my husband and I notice is that we just don't get sick like we used to. It has so many immune properties and healing properties for the gut. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not just, I mean, a lot of people think, oh, it's just fiber. Yeah, it's not just fiber. It's much more than that. The fibers that are in here were carefully selected for their healing properties. And there is an endorsement on this by the Cleveland Clinic. There's actually 4 patents on this one fiber right here. We have 1 patent on the Unimate tea that Diane mentioned, and there are 4 patents alone on this fiber. So it is considered to be a medical grade fiber. And, both of these products are visible to your doctor. When
Yes.
doctors go to the PDR, which is the physician's desk reference or prescriber's digital reference is what they call it nowadays,
Yep.
these products are in the PDR. So your doctor can look at these and see that all they are plants, which means that there is no harm in taking these with any medications. And that's what most of us did. We were on prescription medications. We took those medications right along with these products. And then in my case, I was able to come off of 5 medications. I know you ladies came off of some medications.
Yeah.
So that's what's nice about it is your doctor can kind of give you the sign off and say, well, yeah, I can look this up. I see it's just plants, and then give you the approval, to use it along with your pharmaceuticals.
My mother-in-law, who was, she just turned 79, so she was 77 at the time. Her doctor took her off her blood pressure medications in 2 months after being on them for 25 years.
See there?
Wow.
2 months.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah. I
so
think I was
this,
6 weeks off my blood pressure medicine.
wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Right? So and how long you were on it?
31 years. I was
31
on
years.
hydrochlorothiazide, which is like a diuretic. It's like a water pill. And I was given that specifically because my blood pressure was too high. So, and I mean, when I went into my doctor, I don't even remember why I had the visit, but I just remember my doctor saying, "What is going on with your blood pressure?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what's going on with my blood pressure?" And he goes, "Well, I've never seen your blood pressure this good." And I said, "Well, I don't know why it would be that good." I said, I'm drinking this tea. Well, I later found out, and he looked it up in the PDR and researched this to find that this is what is considered a vasodilator.
Mm-hmm.
Vasodilation means that it basically widens the blood vessels to the heart. When your blood vessels are constricted, that's what
Mm-hmm.
causes high blood pressure. When the blood vessels are widened, most times your blood pressure improves.
Yeah. And when you have too much insulin in your blood, insulin tells your kidneys to hold on um um oh my god, I just went out of my head, to water and salt. And
Hmm.
it also sets off your sympathetic nervous system. So it makes your blood thicker, blood volume thicker, so it starts to vaso and you constrict, and this helps open up and vasodilate. And it's also a bronchodilator.
The
So if you're dealing with
bronchodilator.
asthma or respiratory issues,
Right.
You know, I've had a number of people that, were on oxygen, people with COPD, like you said, people with asthma that,
yeah,
no longer have those issues because it does improve your breathing.
yeah,
People
my
with sleep
mother-in-law.
apnea have improved.
Yes. Were you mind blown on how many people have sleep apnea? Like,
Hmm.
I was in such shock of how many people, like, we had a small little, health meeting up by us, and there was about, I don't know, 7 or 8 women, and almost every one of them, but me and Gina, had sleep apnea and were on the machines. I was like, oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah, I mean it's all related to insulin resistance.
And and
It's
that in itself is mind blowing to see how many things actually affect this. I mean, autoimmune. How many people, right? We even have somebody who said that their MS symptoms have vanished. They're
yeah,
gone.
people that have skin issues, psoriasis, eczema, all those kinds of things are, related to the gut.
Kidney
Everything
disease.
starts in the gut.
Yep, 100%. And when I learned, how when when your gut is so sick and you have leaky gut and how it affects your organs, your brain, anxiety, depression, ADHD, your skin, psoriasis, rosacea, eczema, acne, your thyroid, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, Graves, your colon, constipation, diarrhea, IBD, your adrenals, fatigue, your joints, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, migraines, headaches, sinuses. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And to think that, all of those things are being treated as if they're their own problem, when in actuality, they're all tied to one common denominator that nobody's talking about.
Yeah. It was funny because I don't really watch a lot of TV, hardly. I don't have time anymore. But on Friday, I came home. I got up, cleaned the whole house. I was like, just having an aha moment. Sitting on the couch, put some Hallmark on, and I couldn't believe all the commercials. Every commercial was like for a drug, and I was like, psoriasis, eczema, overweight, diabetes, da da. And I'm like, and in the corner at the end, and blah, 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 all the side effects. I was
Yep.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
For
It's,
everything that we talk about, there's a medication that's not going to actually help you heal.
Well, what I wanted to say was, and also a doctor that specializes in it.
yeah.
Yes, so true.
There's like me with my sinuses, I have an ENT. You know what I mean? Like each diabetes has, you know what I mean? They all, the wound center is all about that. I mean, not that that's not needed, but I'm just saying each they
Yeah.
do. They don't treat the main problem and try to heal you. They're just
Well,
working the
that's what Dr.
band-aid.
Dieter says. Dr. Dieter, when he learned the scales were lifted off of his eyes, and that how he was kind of felt cheated, that he
Mhm.
was all the money that he spent, which he got into being a doctor because he wanted to help people heal, and he said he was literally trained to write prescriptions.
Yeah. It's very sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, these are very gifted individuals, and we need our doctors. But so many of them feel like, that's basically what they do. They push pills.
Yeah.
That's who funds the majority of the medical schools is the pharmaceutical companies. Well, if they're funding the medical schools, then we pretty much know what these poor doctors are being taught, and that is disease management.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's so mind blowing when you start to really dig deep, and you start to understand what's actually going on. And, I'm sure you, Misty, with your mom, me, my
Oh,
dad, my dad died of horrible complications from type 2 diabetes. And I just wish I had this information so
oh
he
my
wouldn't have
gosh.
suffered. My dad suffered. It was horrible.
Yeah, I mean they just did exactly what they were told to do, and they still ended up not beating it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Everything that, we talk about when glucose can no longer get into the cell, it's glucose is a very sticky substance and it can stick to your proteins. And when this happens, it's causes something called glycation, and it can disform these proteins or make them completely dysfunctional. And when that happens, what's so important about this is that it causes aging, it causes disease, it causes inflammation, it causes oxidative stress, which was a lot of my issues. But if you are pre-diabetic or you have type 2 diabetes, because you have chronically high blood sugars, it speeds up this process of glycation. It causes neuropathy, nerve damage in your feet, retinopathy, nerve damage in your eyes. It causes kidney issues. It causes cardiovascular issues. And what's the number one cause of killer in America? Heart disease, right? And my dad, his kidney, he had the neuropathy so bad. He had issues with his eyes. He had his kidneys shut down and his whole body filled up with fluid. When his kidneys no longer worked, then he was on dialysis 3 times a week. His whole body was bruised up from the dialysis. He was in ICU because his blood pressure would go too low. I mean, all the man wanted to do was go home, and he could not go home.
Oh my.
Well,
Yep.
my mom was on water pills and they were too strong. And that's what hurt her kidneys, which ultimately then she chose not to go on kidney dialysis.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing to hear. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. And if you're watching this on the stream on the page, please just make sure that you get hold of either Kay or Misty on their pages. They're going to put a link in the comments. If you're interested in the system, you can always also message them on Facebook Messenger. If you have any questions at all, same thing for me. We are just out here because we want to just scream this from the rooftops. Because of what it's done for us and our families now. My mom is no longer a type 2 diabetic. She's off her stat medications. My mother in law, she's no longer pre diabetic. She's off her blood pressure medication. She's off her stat medications. And she no longer needs oxygen at 79 years old. So these are really, really important things that, are happening from this all natural plant based. It's just food. We call it dumb easy. All you do is drink. And they have amazing flavors, right?
Yes.
And we even have a decaf. That's what I'm drinking right now. So if you're a caffeine sensitive, they had just come out. That's a few months old, so that's awesome. So, like I said, if you have any questions about the system, please reach out to either of us, whatever page you're finding this on. Thank you so much for joining us, Misty. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I love you so much.
Thank you, girls, for having me. I really appreciate it.
You
We
are
enjoyed
awesome.
having you.
Yes, a
Thank
wealth
you.
of knowledge, our Misty, and her and her husband's testimonies are absolutely amazing. I'm so thankful that you found this system because, like you said, what if you didn't find it? Where would
That's
you
right.
both be, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Kay, thank you so much, and I hope you
Yes.
all have a great night.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks.